Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about some advanced memory training. And this question is inspired by a question I got from one of my viewers, and they sent me this message. And the message says this. It says, "Hi Ron, I'm from Sri Lanka and 20 years old. I've watched most of your YouTube videos and I find your mind palace technique exciting. I'm stuck with my studies due to lack of remembering what I study. I understand the technique, but I am learning highly theoretical subjects such as economics and management. So there's a lot of concepts and subtopics in each and every concept. I don't understand how to apply the mind palace technique in that scenario. So I need a favor from you, which is an explanation on how to apply mind palace technique in complex theory scenarios. I'm keeping my hopes for a reply. Thanks and regards, Johan." Thank you, Johan, for the question. And for those of you who are kind of wondering what Johan is questioning here, basically, well, first of all, let me start off by saying this. What I'm going to answer now is advanced memory training. This is advanced. You need to have a basic understanding of the memory palace or the mind palace. If you don't have a basic understanding of that, click the link down below in the description and learn about what the mind palace or the memory palace is. That's the starting point. You've got to know that first. And he's saying he already knows this. The second thing is I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a memory course out there, and it's full of stuff like great stuff, advanced memory training. Go ahead and just get my memory course too, okay? It's called Black Belt Memory. I'll put a link to Black Belt Memory down there below. But back to this guy's question. He is asking, he's really asking two questions here. How can I remember theoretical subjects such as economics and management? And then the second question he's asking is, how do you remember subpoints, subtopics? Let's address the first question first. And the first question is Ron, people always say this, I'm not trying to memorize a list, I'm trying to memorize a theory. How do you memorize a theory, like economic theory or Einstein's theory of relativity? How do you memorize theories if they're not a list? Because most people think memory training is just good for memorizing lists. The answer to that is this. Read with a pen or a highlighter. And as you read, highlight or underline the main points that make up this theory. So you might read two paragraphs, highlight or underline the main points, the main ideas that make up that theory. Then, now you have a list. Memorize those lists of things, put them on your mind palace that make up that concept. So when people say that they're trying to memorize theories and they can't do it because it's not a list, that's not true. You need to read with a pen or a highlighter, underline the main ideas that make up that point or make up that topic, and then memorize those. Now here's the next question. He says, Ron, how can I, if one topic has 5 subpoints, how can I memorize subpoints for each topic? There's a couple ways to do this. The first way, okay, so let's take this setup right here. Let's say this is my mind palace, and let's move this over here. And let's say my number one item in the mind palace is the skull. My number 2 is the computer. My number 3 is the alien, and my number 4 is, I don't know if you can see it. How about the door? Number 4 is the door, and 5 is the couch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are my 5 items in this mind palace in this room. So let's say you have 5 things you want to memorize. And you want to memorize the presidents of the United States. First president was Washington, so maybe you imagine a washing machine right here. The next president was Adams, so maybe you imagine a dam, like a dam on a river right here. This is a dam. A dam breaks through the laptop. The next president was Jefferson. Maybe you remember it like Jefferson. So you see a chef right here, like a chef cooking food, and this guy right here is a chef, Jefferson. On the door, you imagine medicine for Madison. The 4th president was James Madison. So, washing machine for Washington, a dam for Adams, a chef for Jefferson, medicine for Madison, and a man in a rowboat for Monroe. Monroe, James Monroe. Monroe was the 5th president, man rowing a boat. So now you've memorized the 5 presidents: Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe. But let's say that you have subpoints under each one of these presidents that you need to memorize. So you want to remember that George Washington was in the Federalist Party. So you got to think of Federalist. What's a picture for Federal? I think of Federal Express. So I see a Federal Express envelope and I'm setting it right here on top of the imaginary washing machine. So if you want to do subpoints, you imagine George Washington here, a washing machine, and then you add something to that picture, a Federal Express envelope to remember Federalist. Now, Thomas Jefferson right here, let's say you wanted to add a subpoint to that. How could you remember Thomas Jefferson is his political party? Well, he was a Democratic Republican. That was the name of the political party. It's kind of like we have Democrat and Republicans today. That was one party back then, the Democratic Republican. So maybe you have today, our pictures up for Democrat and Republican parties are a donkey and an elephant. So maybe you have a donkey and an elephant on his shoulders over here, because in modern times, a donkey and an elephant represent the Democratic and Republican parties, and he was both. He was the Democratic Republican Party. That's a subpoint. The main point is Thomas Jefferson. The subpoint is the Democrat and Republican Party, the elephant and the donkey. Over here, you have the washing machine with the Federal Express envelope. The president was George Washington. The subpoint was Federalist. So to remember subpoints, you just go back and add to the picture. Maybe you could add 3 or 4 things to each one of this, and you can memorize your subpoints. That's one way to do subpoints. Another way that you could memorize subpoints is this. Group them by category, by room. And here's what I mean by this. This room right here, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say all of this room could be George Washington. So right here you have a washing machine for Washington. Right here you have a Federal Express envelope for Federalist. Right here you have the year he was elected. Right there you have the state that he was born, and right there you have his hometown, how many presidential terms he served. It doesn't matter. Here's the point. This entire room becomes George Washington. So when you're taking your test and ask a question about George Washington, you just jump back to this room. So you can group subpoints 2 ways. Number 1, by just putting them all on the same piece of furniture, or number 2, putting them all in the same room. Why would you want to use the entire room instead of just putting it on one piece of furniture? If you have a lot of data, if there's a lot of data, you're going to want to spread it out around the entire room. If it's just 3 or 4 subpoints, you can probably put it all on one location in your mind palace. So this was my answer to how do you remember theoretical information and how do you remember subpoints. Please ask all memory questions in the comments to YouTube videos. Don't email me because I might not ever see the videos. I might not ever see the email. But if this was an advanced question, this was an advanced memory training question. So if I lost you, if this was a little bit confusing for you, don't worry about it. Just go watch the Mind Palace video. The link is down in the description. Watch the Mind Palace video and get an understanding for that. And then once you do, come back to this video and see if it makes sense. Also, I'm going to encourage you to get my Black Belt Memory course. It's a great memory course. Come on, guys. You've got to get this course. The link is down below in the description. Click that link, get your free gift, and sign up for the Black Belt Memory course. I'll see you on the next video. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Comment below with your memory question. Comment below with your question.